Excuse me. Excuse me. Do you know why we pulled you over today? Exactly. It's because you're not subscribed. So you better fix that right now, or we're gonna have to take you in. So let's just move on to this one. And this is obviously quite interesting, right? Because some people are suggesting that there is a Studio Display Pro in the works. Now, I'm not sure. Like, obviously, this is stuff that you can never be sure. Only if Apple shows it on stage, then you can practically be sure that it's coming out. Unless we're talking about AirPower. Anyways, I feel like Sharon is waiting to speak, so we're going to listen to Sharon right here, right now. Let's go.
27-inch Studio Display Pro with Mini LED and promotion could launch in June. Apple plans to launch a Pro version of its new Studio Display in June of this year that measures 27 inches and has Mini LED and promotion, according to well-respected display analyst Ross Young. In a tweet, Young says he's still expecting Apple to release a 27-inch Mini LED display in June and has confirmed such plans with sources within Apple's supply chain. Young had previously said that an iMac Pro would launch as early as summer 2022, but no longer believes that to be the case. Young explains his sources weren't aware of the separation between the iMac, Mac Studio, and Studio Display, adding confusion to Apple's exact plans.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, this is the problem with, like, supply chain leaks. Like, things, for one, they change, like, every other week. Because, like, if something goes wrong in production, or something proves to be too difficult, or whatever, it just gets scrapped, right? So, it's just easy. Then, after that, you have, like, translation problems, like, stuff you maybe got like translated from English to, I don't know, Chinese, like, or maybe some other language, and it's like maybe too literal, or something just doesn't really add up, or someone uses a saying that only works in the United States, and then if you translate it literally, it just says something completely different. This is so sensitive to errors and whatever. It's like, it makes no sense, like, usually to make any sort of, like, expectation, to build any sort of expectation just on very early supply chain noises. Now, this could be closer to the actual release. Obviously, summer is quite close. It's just a few months out. WWDC is just a few months out. So, yeah, you could say that it's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure, because, like, obviously we have the Pro XDR display, and it might make more sense to give that a little bit of an update than make an entire new display and a new brand, but I don't know, maybe. It's just, like, I don't know. Anyways, let's keep it pumping.
Explains his sources. The confusion likely came from the fact that the Studio Display, and presumably the Studio Display Pro, both feature a webcam and a built-in Apple Silicon, making it look like an iMac when it's not. Now, it seems that earlier rumors about an iMac Pro launching in June weren't referencing an actual iMac, but instead a Pro version of the Studio Display.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, because, like, they discontinued the iMac 27-inch, like, almost entirely. It probably will come back, especially, like, for consumers. But yeah, the iMac Pro is probably cancelled. So this makes sense to have a Pro display somewhere. But if it's going to be a Pro XDR display, or it's going to be a Studio display, like, there's probably a difference. Maybe it's just going to be a thing that's in between that. I'm just not sure. Tim Cook ballin' again? Yeah, like, yeah, for sure.
Now, it seems that earlier rumors about an iMac Pro launching in June weren't. Today's Studio Display Pro rumor also adds more clarity to information shared by Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, who this week said that an iMac Pro would not launch until 2023. On the flip side, Kuo said today in a tweet that Apple may not release any Mini LED devices this year due to cost concerns, so it remains to be seen what exactly Apple has planned for June, around WWDC. During its event this week, Apple teased an Apple Silicon Mac Pro, hinting it may not be that far away. Specifically, when talking about the transition to Apple Silicon across the Mac lineup, Apple's Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering, John Ternus, said that there's just one more product to go, Mac Pro, before adding that's for another day. Yen expects the Studio Display Pro to launch alongside the Apple Silicon Mac Pro in June, potentially replacing the Pro Display XDR in Apple's display lineup. Adding further to the confusion of Apple's plan, Apple this week discontinued the 27-inch Intel-based iMac, leaving questions on whether there will be a larger iMac to join the 24-inch in Apple's lineup. Currently, it seems customers wanting a large all-in-one desktop computer from Apple will have to wait it out or purchase the 27-inch Studio Display and pair it with a Mac.
Yeah, well, so that won't be an all-in-one desktop then, if they if the consumer is willing to compromise on that. Compromise, I mean, whatever. Well, then, yeah, probably. Someone will probably build a dock for it so that you can hang it on the back of the display. Probably like a Mac Mini then, yeah? Well, not like the Mac Studio, that's going to be insane. But a Mac Mini, yeah, probably we'll be able to do that. Or maybe put it on the little stand here, like this thingy right here, right? It's practically all in one then, so maybe if you can make that compromise, you're fine. I'm not completely convinced that this is going to happen. It kinda, yeah. I mean, anyways, that thing is gonna be straight up 3,000 euros starting. Yeah, starting price. Yeah, probably. This is like, it depends. If it's going to replace a Pro XDR display, which it probably isn't, because like obviously they were saying that yeah, the mini LED devices are not coming because of cost concerns. So they're probably not going to make a Pro XDR display because they are not going to release a mini LED device. So it's either just going to be the Studio Pro and then without mini LED, or it has to be OLED. Maybe they can do that, and then it will replace the Pro XDR display. I'm just not sure if everyone is completely willing to go to OLED yet. But hey, we're going to see. I don't think this is going to be a replacement for the Pro XDR display. It's just mental. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to be something in between that. And yeah, the price of 3,000 euros is probably fine. Anyways, fam, it makes sense though, because the Mac Pro users want a more premium display for sure. Maybe even the Mac Studio users too. Yeah. I mean, it depends what it comes with, because if it's like literally, the Pro XDR display right now is fine. It works fine. It just has 60 hertz instead of 120 hertz. Not sure how many people use the 120 hertz in their workflow. If they really use it, then yeah, definitely you want to do it. But if you're just doing it because it's smoother, because it just has that little edge in I don't know, when you're doing some scrolling or whatever, I'm not sure if professionals are really going to care about that. So it has to fit in your workflow. If it does, then yeah, you will probably upgrade or buy this one in general. But that display is fine. So this thing will definitely be something that is just in between there. And yeah, maybe for Mac Pro and Mac Studio users. And then with a starting price of 3,000 euros, it's good. Fits right in, I would say. Anyways,